Hi again, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Wheel of Albums, episode number 6. Along with my brother Adam and our friend Jack, I am Justin. And what we do here on Wheel of Albums is we spin a wheel of the 1001 albums you must hear before you die. Then we deep dive into that album, take a listen to it, see what we like, what we didn't like, and then we convene and we share our thoughts on what we think of that album and if it's worth listening to before you die. This week, I got to spin the wheel. And what did I spin? Vulgar Display of Power, 1992 release from Pantera. All right, guys, what'd you think whenever I spun Vulgar Display of Power? Jack, we'll start with you.
When I first saw that Pantera Vulgar Display of Power was going to be the choice, I was excited because this is not only a record I like, but the first record that we picked that I actually knew.
Can't say that I really knew anything about Pantera other than that they were a metal band from the 90s. I don't think I had ever listened to. So my preconceived notions of Vulgar Display of Power would have been, I just kind of felt that we were in for a lot of screaming and a lot of thrash metal riffs, and I was pleasantly surprised. Respect.
When I saw Vulgar Display of Power come up, at first I was like, I didn't remember this album when it was released. I remember Walk on MTV a couple times, maybe on Beavis and Butthead. But around this time, I just owned metal a lot, and I was looking more towards Beastie Boys and Cure releases the next month coming after it.
Well, 1991, 92, 93, there were just so many records that hit my sweet spots, and this was one of them. A group of us were big fans of the Cowboys from Hell, had watched the home videos of the Antics with them drinking the Blacktooth Grin all the time, making our own Blacktooth Grin. It was fantastic. What a time to be alive.
I can't say that metal is my forte or anything, listening to anything past Metallica, really in the metal scene.
It's funny that you mentioned Metallica, Adam. What I read, Pantera was upset about how the Black Album was so smooth. The whole idea with Vulgar Display of Power, to me at least, it sounds like they took And Justice for All, which I love And Justice for All, but they took a lot of the ideas from that album and just made it more angrier and intense. Said, hey, you know what? We're here for you. We're your new metal band for the 90s right here.
Needs to be considered in the upper echelon or top metal albums of all time. You know, it definitely displays what metal is all about.
The record just starts off with just that banging of Mouth for War, and it's that galloping horse. And then it says, you know what? One horse isn't enough. I've got a whole GD army of horses, and we're going to set your town on fire.
This album starts off like gangbusters with Mouth of War, a new level of confidence. And then you got Walk, one of my favorite songs we've heard yet. And Hostile, Diamond Daryl at the time, who of course goes on to be Dimebag Daryl after this. The man has plenty of riffs. He brings something, what they call groove metal, and it works on a lot of this album. I had no idea that the drummer and him were both brothers. R.I.P. to both of them.
Songs like Mouth for War and Walk. I love how This Love slows it down a bit and then kicks in again. And it's just a really good display of what metal's all about, I think.
Burning down stuff, being angry, but still having a good time. And that's part of the magic of Pantera. Underneath it all is they're just a good old boys, even though it sounds angry. And that's something that we'll address here. That Phil needs to address more than me.
Why is Phil so angry?
Respect.
So lead singer is Phil. He's angry, apparently, at a whole bunch of stuff, except, even when he's talking about love. This love. So he breaks it down. He's, he's sorry about things. He still has some violent tendencies.
I have some real concerns for Phil, especially when he's trading lyrics with himself in the chorus for This Love.
He needs to see a shrink, and that unfortunately would probably make Pantera go back to their old glam rock roots, and I don't really want to see them go there. That's regression. That's bad. probably going to go into a shame spiral. A good therapist could help him address the anger issues, but maintain his passion for his work.
I didn't enjoy this love at all. And from that point on in the album, Phil's anger started reminding me of new metal bands that formed down the road. Not too fond of to begin with.
Phil evidently needs a hug.
I would hug maybe Mike Muir from Suicidal Tendencies because, he seems like a guy that you'd be like, hey, it's okay. We can work things out. Phil, I'm afraid he'd punch me back.
Maybe anger management classes as well. But definitely somebody just needs to put a hand on his shoulder and say, it's going to be all right, Phil.
We used to have discussions about, who was angrier in 92, 93. Was it Henry Rollins or was it Phil? And 9 times out of 10, Phil was the winner because he's even talking about stuff that he shouldn't be angry about. And he's still relatively pissed.
Okay, so Jack scored the highest as far as what he thought of Vulgar Display of Power, number-wise, song by song. I came in the lowest. And then whenever you take a look at the top 3 songs, Hostile at number 3.
The opener, Mouth for War, A New Level is great. Walk is perfect. And Walk is strange because if you really break it down, it's, even though it's an angry man basically sounding very threatening, it's also kind of just like a bunch of high school girls fighting. Like, I hear you talking behind my back, girl, but guess what? The girl you said everything to, she went and told me what you done said.
All right, it's that time to decide whether Vulgar Display of Power by Pantera is indeed an album you should listen to before you die. Jack, let's start with you. What do you think?
Vulgar Display of Power is the gym partner you didn't know you need. They push you. They get it done. They yell, they're in your face, they're aggressive, but you need that. And so yes, you do need to listen to Vulgar Display of Power before you die. Rocks your socks off, baby.
Look, I do respect the place in history of Vulgar Display of Power. And there's a couple really, really good aggressive cuts. Walk is fantastic. Mouth for War really gets things kicking at the beginning. But the more I listen to this throughout the week, the more I wish I was listening to bands that sort of sound similar. Helmet, Rage Against the Machine, System of a Down. I would rather listen to that than have to listen to Phil scream at me anymore. So I'm going to say no. You do not need to listen to Vulgar Display of Power before you die. Adam, break that tie.
I decided that my daughters, had never heard metal before, so I thought I'm going to let them listen to the first, 30 seconds, minute of the Pantera album. My youngest immediately started to headbang. I never had taught her how to headbang, but she started headbanging to Mouth for War, constantly asked to listen to it for the next couple days. So we may have a new Pantera fan on our hands. Vulgar Display of Power is an absolute must listen before you die album. If you want to understand what 90s metal and what metal is all about.
Walk on home, boy.
Pretty good place to start.
All right, so there you have it. Vulgar Display of Power. That's 2 yays, and I'm the lone nay. So what do you think? Leave a comment on Spotify or YouTube. We also have a poll there if you're on Spotify. If you want to let us know if you think this album is something you should hear before you die. Adam, you've got the wheel for the next episode number 7. Give that thing a spin.
And on next week's Wheel of Albums, the spin is on, the pick is in, and we have some glam rock with the one and only Lou Reed's Transformer.
Oh, it's time to swoop, and rock on the next episode. Thanks for joining us. We're going to do this again in a week after we listen to Transformer by Lou Reed for a week. For Jack.
Walk on home, boy.
Adam.
Respect.
And myself.
Of confidence.
Thanks again for listening to Wheel of Albums.